look out, Dave's got an energy drink. You feeling pumped up?
No, not really.
Oh, well, what do you just feel more awake now?
Yeah, no, but, it doesn't make me more tired. I could go for a nap, though.
Well, I don't understand. Does it do anything for you at all?
It makes me feel like my bones are vibrating.
What? That doesn't sound like a desirable effect.
Well, it's not desirable.
Dave, why do you drink energy drinks at all?
Well, because they give you energy.
Woo! One of the things I find enormously funny about the autistic experience is that there is a demographic of us that just have this very, very non-specific accent, in that, like, it doesn't align with where we grew up, where we were born, our background, nothing. It's just this kind of weird thing. I actually got bullied for quite a few years growing up because of the way I speak. It started in primary school, and I always associated with the fact that I read a lot of Harry Potter and whatnot growing up, and so this accent that I sort of developed and that has literally never left me is an English one. It's just weird because I slip into it at absolutely random times, has no sense. Sometimes it'll be a single word, sometimes it'll be the entire way I speak for the whole day, and other times it's just sort of like, you know, here and there for particular phrases with no real rhyme or reason, right? Okay. And then it continued in high school, and I'll never forget this one time that I was trying to stick up for someone who was being bullied because they had some acne on their back. I said something to the person who was bullying them, and their only reply was, "Why do you speak in that ridiculous accent all the time?" And I remember thinking, I don't even know. I've got nothing to say to you at all. Well, now, at 25, I know, 10 years later, that it's just autism. I guess the question's answered now.
All that I want is someone that I can show all of the things that I think are cool to, who will then show me all of the things that they think are cool. And if they happen to have a cool butt, then that would be okay too.
Hey, stitch this and tell me about your autistic sense of humor. I got the very soft and gentle kind of autistic humor, not the, like, extremely dark kind. And in my opinion, these are the funniest jokes ever told. Possibly the only funny jokes ever told. Bad translations, machine learning, those two categories do overlap, but not 100%, and they are equally funny in their own right. And somebody's yelling upstairs. You good? And spelling jokes, like in Tintin, where they're like, this is Thompson with a P, like psychiatrist. This is Thompson without a P, like alligator. That's so funny.
You know what people without ADHD don't really understand? Is that just because when we tunnel on something with like extreme focus and make that our entire personality for like 2-3 weeks, they remember that we are into that subject. We move on, you know? I could just be walking through my house, you know, forgetting everything as it passes me, no object permanence, and then my auntie will come up to me and she'll be like, Keen, do you wanna help me with the plants? What do you know about this house plant? Bitch, what the fuck is a house plant? I'm welding now. That's my thing. You don't know about Damascus steel?
It is important to say the word autism. It is really important to say the word autism. People think that autism is a dirty word and that it's a tragedy, and that mindset directly contributes to why people think eugenics is okay. And people will try so hard to call autistic traits anything other than autistic traits because it is a dirty word and it is a tragedy, and you will do anything to avoid the word autism. It's not autism, it's this. It's not autism, you're a highly sensitive person. It's not autism, you're just quirky. Or if you do have autism, it's you're autistic, but you don't act like this. You can talk, you're high functioning, you're not autistic, but you're independent. They reduce us to functioning labels because they want it to be okay for people who seem low functioning to not be treated as human beings and to not have an equal right to be born and be alive. Even if it's just in the back of their head, internalized from what they've learned.
My name's Jake, I'm professionally diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder, and if you either know me personally or know me from assorted anti-DID subreddits, you might know that some members of my system are a little bit cringy. And a lot of people seem to think that having a cringy system means that you're automatically faking. Well, as mentioned, I have an immensely cringy system, but as mentioned, This meets the diagnostic criteria for DID, and I am professionally diagnosed. A lot of people think that having alters from recent media automatically means that somebody is faking DID because either they don't believe that people can form alters past childhood, or they don't believe people can form alters of fictional characters. One, you can absolutely, without a doubt, have alters of fictional characters. This is an alter type referred to as an interject, and it just means anything on the outside. Don't take my word for it. If you're looking for actual medical documentation affirming the existence of alters of fictional characters, Trauma Association's list of alter types condenses it really well. So, if DID is a childhood disorder, why do some people have alters of dream? Well, the reason why I have these alters from recent media is because I also have recent trauma. Now, you can't form DID from trauma in adulthood, but if you have DID that you formed in childhood, you still have DID symptoms in adulthood. So if you experience more trauma, there's going to be more alters. When I formed alters from media such as Homestuck and Steven Universe, it's because I was experiencing a large cluster of trauma that all revolved around my mother experiencing severe health problems and me worrying about her dying on a regular basis, which I have a very codependent relationship with my mother. My childhood trauma was child abduction. We're pretty close. On top of that, this was when my groomer cut me off, which was a very big deal because I was very emotionally invested in what I believed to be a relationship, and I lost my service dog. This sent me into a bout of catatonic depression to the point where all I would do was scroll through Tumblr and watch YouTube videos. So I developed very Tumblr alters because that is how I was processing my trauma at that age, at that point in time. In that moment, Homestuck was what was most important to me, so that's where my brain was pulling alters from. So can teenagers with DID have alters of Minecraft YouTubers? Yes, absolutely! We have one too, he's just from back in my day. Are there people faking DID on this app? Yes, absolutely. But what I need y'all to know is not all of them are. If you see someone claiming to have an alter of a Minecraft YouTuber, you can just, leave them alone. Oh, side note I totally forgot about. What if they don't remember any alters from childhood and only claim to have recent alters? It's cause of the amnesia. It's an amnesiac disorder, you dumb whore.
Okay. I saw a creator named Oliver talking about an ableist post that Loop Earplugs made. I want to recommend a different brand called Flare Audio. They make these little tiny hollow earbuds called Calmer, and they come in a whole bunch of different types of silicone and sizes so that it fits any ear and any type of need. They use Identity First Language on their page. These things are supposed to help people with misophonia, autism, ADHD, OCD, Tourette's syndrome, tinnitus too, even. They have super environmentally friendly packaging, and they tell you all about how it works in these little pamphlets. They have a 100-day money-back guarantee if you don't like it. Their website's super user-friendly. I can make a whole other video talking about how great these are, because I have nothing bad to say about them or their website.
Is this game popular with autistic people? Why would you say something like that? Because I'm starting to love it.
Okay, you guys really liked the last tip, so here's another. And once again, the rules are fake. I do not have a nightstand. I have noticed that if I have a wide, large, flat surface near me, that I will cover it no matter what. Any horizontal surface is a clutter magnet. So instead, I have a little shelf. It's small enough to hold all my essentials without being big enough that it collects clutter. There's room for my phone right there, which obviously my charger's down there. I have my floss and my reusable floss pick. I have some vitamins, I have chapstick, and I have lotion. A shelf has also been a game changer with my makeup. If I do my makeup in the bathroom, my makeup ends up all over the counter. If I use a vanity, the same thing. It's just never clean. As a solution, I have this big wall mirror that I put up on my wall, and I have my makeup in a shelf. I realized that it doesn't actually take me that long to do my makeup, and so I just stand while I do it. And if the only available surface to put it away is the shelf itself, I'll actually do it. I don't know why it works, but it does.
Actually, all these things are commonly found in people with ADHD too. Well, you know what else is commonly found in people with ADHD? Don't say it. Autism.
My favorite TikTok trend right now is people who aren't system and some people who are systems, shame the fuck on you, making fun of systems for like having like cringy alters. Oh, you can't develop alters past the age of 9 years old. I got the DSM open right now. Show me where it says that. Cause I'm looking at page 294 and I can't see anything like that. That's so weird. Actually, it only makes up 2% of the population, which is really uncommon. First of all, you're wrong. It makes up 1.5% of the population, which is 0.1% higher than the people who identify as gay males in the United States. Is it starting to click? Is it starting to click yet?
A long time ago, I learned how to do this vocal warm-up that Japanese voice actors and actors do before going on stage. It's based on the Japanese vowels a, I, U, E, O in that order. That's like the Japanese alphabet, a, I, U, E, O. So you start by going in the order, and then you start with the second one and go to the end, and then do the first one last. And you start with the third one, go to the end, and then do the first and second one last, and so on until you go a, I, U, E, O, I, U, E, O, a, U, E, O, a, I, E, O, a, I, U, O, a, I, U, E. And then you add the rest of the Japanese alphabet, so it goes a, ka, sa, ta, na, ha, ma, ya, ra, wa. Each of those has a, I, U, E, O vowel succession. So a, I, U, E, O, ka, ki, ku, ke, ko, sa, shi, su, se, so, ta, chi, tsu, se, to. So you do that whole thing for the entire row, but you have to do it really fast. A, U, E, O, U, E, O, U, E, O, wa, U, E, O, ka, ki, ku, ke, ko, ki, ku, ke, ko, ka, ku, ke, ko, ka, ki, ke, ko, ka, ki, ku, ko, ka, ki, ku, ke, sa, shi, su, se, so.
Hey, mostly autism and ADHD people, do you struggle with relating to people by telling them something about you and then they think that you're just making it about yourself? Well, here are some things that you can say instead of going on a tangent about something that you've went through that's similar. Some of these might seem obvious to some people, but some people need help with these things, and I think that I have kind of got it down. I hope. I can definitely relate to that. I've been through a very similar experience, so I can understand what you're going through. I've been through something similar, so I know that must be really difficult. I can sympathize with that, or I can empathize with that. Mostly, non-autistic people don't like to hear about other people's experiences when they're trying to voice their own. I think it tends to make them feel less important or valuable. I would also like to note that you don't have to have gone through something to be able to understand somebody or sympathize with them. It is also completely okay to tell someone, I've never been through something like that. I can't even imagine how difficult that must have been. It's okay to not actually understand how someone is feeling.
Because you sold your house, you detrimentally relied on that, and so that's like the defense.
Do you know the best way to open a banana?
I think my mom being nice to me in my 20s is just another way of her gaslighting me, making me
As a family therapist, I've seen this a lot during the pandemic of parents having these like, oh my God, I can't believe that I used to raise my child in that way, and I what was I thinking? And then we have parents who come to that same realization because during coronavirus, they realize I don't have no end of life care. My children are going to be my retirement plan. And sometimes your parents want you to hurry up and forgive them, because if you don't, they don't know what you plan to, like, are you even going to be, do you want to take care of a kid you didn't want? So I talk about this in my class on setting boundaries, because parents will often try to guilt you into compassion. And a parent that's truly changed won't do that. And if you don't know the difference, you'll get caught every single time.
Which way do I turn the steering wheel?
Yeah, I can't tell you how to do it. You just have to know.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I don't know.
One of the many reasons that I cannot stand functioning labels is because people don't actually mean what they like pretend that they mean when they call somebody high functioning. I literally told a psychiatrist that I am unable to work, entirely unable to work. I rarely leave my house. I cannot keep my spaces clean. I cannot keep my body clean. I cannot keep my laundry done. I cannot do the most basic things to take care of myself. I have days where I completely don't get out of bed and I sleep 10 to 12 hours a day. I told a psychiatrist that, and then she called me high functioning because I was masking well during the appointment. People do not fucking mean a high functioning when they call autistic people high functioning. They just mean that they think that you are good at feigning autistic behavior. That's all it fucking means. It's just another way to divide autistic people into palatable and unpalatable.
Why do you always do that thing?
Do what?
That thing you do when you're fighting. And this thing that you do when you...
Last warning, do not touch uh-oh.
Tommy, stop being sexist.
I'm not.
A lot of autistic people, especially late diagnosed autistic people, explain that they have this sense that something is off with them compared to other kids, compared to other adults. And until last night, I didn't realize what that off feeling was. I tried to explain it over and over and over again, but I couldn't necessarily put it into words. What felt so wrong, what felt so different about me compared to other people. Last night, though, I figured out what that feeling was. It was, I felt things differently than other people felt those same things. I went to my grandmother's funeral, and I didn't feel anything until my brother wouldn't sing a song with me at her funeral, and that was when I felt upset. That was when I felt angry and sad and confused. It wasn't because my grandmother had passed away. And I lived with this guilt that something was wrong with me. Something about my emotions was fucked up. Something about me was wrong. I couldn't feel love and connection the same way other people could feel love and connection. So I was constantly shaming myself. I enjoyed certain things that other people did not give a shit about. And certain things that other people thought were so big and important, for some reason my emotions would not react the same way. In band, we had this really big competition and everyone was looking forward to it, and we messed up and we didn't get to the next round. The entire band was in tears and sad, and I felt nothing in that moment, and I felt so confused, and I was like, why am I not feeling the same way other people are feeling right now? I shamed myself every living moment of my life, thinking that I don't feel love and connection and loss and sadness the same way other people do. It's this, I can't describe it. It's, my emotions are different. And until I realized that last night, there's no way I could have loved myself thinking that something was wrong with how I experienced the world. So now it's like, I need to do some research on autism and emotions and how they're different from neurotypical people, because I think that's been my main problem. I felt like this heartless demon sometimes, and other times I felt like I was overreacting to everything, and sometimes my emotions were way up here while everyone else's were down here, and sometimes my emotions were down here when everyone else's were way up here, and I felt so alone compared to other people. I felt like something is wrong with me. Something must be wrong with my brain for me to feel like this, and now I'm just realizing that's probably autism.
Why do parents not understand that mental health care and mental illness care are different? Doing yoga is not going to help my borderline personality disorder, Dad! Yeah, I feel fucking amazing.
I have so much conflict masking around like two specific types of people. One of them are just like neurotypicals who know enough about neurodivergent people to know when you're masking. Like my psychiatrist, he gave me a booklet of like autism things because we think that I'm autistic in addition to having ADHD. So he gave me this booklet and all these resources, basically a bunch of homework. And I felt like the neurotypical thing to say was to be like, oh, you're giving me homework. And he was like, no, but like you will really enjoy this. Like you will really enjoy, because he knows that I'm going to research that like nobody's business, because I've been doing that the last 4 weeks. Did I tell him? No, but he knows me. And he knows that I'm going to do that. So then it was just like a weird comment to say, because like we both know that I'm just like, that's just a performance. And the second kind of person is like neurodivergent people who are also masking, whether that's because they don't know that they're neurodivergent, and I can't tell them because that's unethical, or because they, you know, maybe new to their neurodivergency and they're still getting used to unmasking, or they just don't know how to unmask. I, to a large extent, don't know what my personality is like unmasked. I mask extensively all the time, and like an unmasked version of myself, not too sure what that is completely, but it's just so weird because it's like we're both acting for the benefit of no one. This conversation is being had in a neurotypical way for the benefit of no one.
People will be like, Keen, this screenplay you wrote is ableist and is bad representation because all of your autistic coded characters murder people. And it's like, actually, it's representation for me, an autistic person who murders people.
Police, if you can solve this riddle, you might be a psychopath.
Yay, so fun. Hi, hello there. I'm Ashanti, Ashanti Morningstar. Nice to meet you. I'm a person with antisocial personality disorder. It's the formal term of being a person who's a sociopath, as well as a person who is a psychopath. Sociopath and psychopath are both extremely outdated terms, and when you use them, it's dehumanizing and degrading. I'm not saying you did anything wrong, but I would prefer if people don't use the terms sociopath and psychopath. Medical terms are like clothes, fashion. Once they are no longer trending, they don't sell them anymore. Same thing goes for words. When and if one day I can get people to stop saying these words, I will be extremely ecstatic, happy. Yes, I have emotions. Thank you.
I just realized something. I had a bad childhood.
Yeah, I know.
What do you mean you know?
Look at you.
What do you mean look at me?
Look at how you stand. People who had good childhoods don't stand like that.
Before I knew a lot about autism, one of the things that made me think that I might not be autistic is that I'm funny. And I've always been funny, and I've always used and understood sarcasm to a degree. And so I thought that made me not autistic before I learned more about autism. And I think it's funny that that's a misconception around autism, because I think that I'm funny and that a lot of autistic people are funny, kind of as a form of masking. Like for me, I think that I became so funny because it was a way for me to diffuse tension when I did something wrong in a social situation, or I could spin doing something wrong in a social situation as an intentional joke. And that was a really good way for me to get around all of the things that I didn't understand when I was younger. And I even got to the point when I was younger, and I knew and acknowledged this, that I could modulate my sense of humor depending on who I was around, so that like if I was around my grandma or somebody who generally doesn't get my sense of humor, I could change it so that I could make that specific person laugh. And it was masking.
Роскомздрав не запретит. Simple.
This little bit of advice has saved my life many a time. It's very simple, but it works, alright? Pretend you're a kid, alright? Pretend you're in like primary school or whatever. Also, if you're like me, pretend you didn't have social anxiety, just put it in the bin. It's just for an exercise, alright? So you pretend you're a kid, go up to yourself, right? You go up to yourself as a kid, and then you go, you know what? We're friends now. You're cool. I like you. We have similar interests. You know what? Do you want to draw a picture together? Do you want to go play in a puddle? Do you want to go like play with dolls, or you know, like play in the sand or in the mud? Let's go do something. And then you take yourself out and you do something silly, and then you laugh about it and you have fun, and then guess what? You've made a new friend, and it's you. Befriend you. I love you.